Hi, everybody. Dave Zorn here for CAF News Campaign 2024. We got a special guest in the studio today. It is Congressman Ruben Gallego running for Senate in the state of Arizona. And Congressman, thanks for taking time out and being
Yeah,
with
man.
us
Thanks for
today.
having me.
Well, let's get, maybe a lot of people out there don't know your background and don't know who
Sure.
you are. So you are a congressman currently.
Yeah.
The term ends down in kind of the West Phoenix area. I was born and raised in the West Valley, kind of the 35th and Camelback
Oh,
area,
yeah.
so I know the district well. And back when Grand Canyon University was Grand Canyon College.
Got it. I
So
know
it's
where
like
it
a
is.
couple
Yeah.
small buildings, and that was
Yep.
it.
Good
So
Mexican food out there. Yeah.
exactly. So you've got there. You spent some time in the state legislature too. So kind of talk about how you've kind of risen to this level, and what kind of made you decide to run for U.S. Senate.
Well, I mean, everything that got me into politics is really more about what service to my country, and it starts from me being a Marine. I am an Iraq War veteran. I am a Marine infantryman. Unfortunately, was fortunate to serve my country, and was unfortunate in the sense that I had to be in some very hard combat days. And coming back from the war, I was not very well prepared to come back from the war. I had severe cases of PTSD. I had some health problems, and so did a lot of my the men that I served, the Marines I served with, and I found myself really helping them out a lot. And I realized that much like what happened during the war, when we didn't have the armor we needed, when we got back from the war, we were basically forgotten. And so I just started helping them out and talking to politicians, trying to get us more services, because the GI Bill get us housing, because a lot of us were homeless, a lot of us were, dying, committing suicide, or killing ourselves slowly. And, I decided I had to step up. And that's kind of what's always let me into one or the other. And then seeing what happened after, honestly, after January 6th, it made me realize that we're in a very serious situation in this country, and that I needed to make sure that we had people in the Senate that understand how dangerous what happened on January 6th is. And we need to have senators that actually care about it and want to stop and save our country, save our democracy.
I want to touch on that too, because you were in Congress in the Capitol building on January 6th. Were you guys, refresh my memory, were you guys going through the count at that time? You were, right?
Yeah, so I was on the floor with the Arizona delegation, because Arizona was the first state that was going to be contested, and it goes by alphabetical order. And so we were starting the Arizona count, and the count, I mean the challenge, because we had just gotten challenged, and so I was supposed to be part of the defense of that, and that's when the insurrection started breaking through, and we eventually got back to the floor to finish it, but it was not good that that happened to our country.
And you, with your military background and your time in the Marines, kind of stepped up as a leader and tried to get everybody into safety, regardless of party. I mean, this is
Yeah.
about human life at this point. So
Yeah.
kind of take us through that, to where when did that enter your head, and kind of when you decided right then and there, okay, I got to step up, because
Sure.
I'm trained to do this. I need to do something here.
Well, I mean, what happened was the leadership was taken away, because when in a serious situation, they took all the leadership of the Democrats and the Republicans away, because we need to have continuity of government. And I realized that the police were very busy outside. Someone came in and said we had to put on gas masks. Nobody knew how to put on gas masks. Of course, if you're Marine infantry, actually, if you're Marine, you have to do gas mask training. And also just know that the most important thing when you're dealing with chaos is you need to stay calm. You need to show leadership, help organize, and get people out. And I realized that there was two things that was going to happen. They were going to come in, and it was going to be a slaughter, or they were going to get us out, and it was also going to be a slaughter. And so the most important thing you could do is, to make sure that you're ready, you're organized, and you have a plan. And, I saw this young staffer just crying because she thought she was going to die. And I realized that, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what my government has asked me to do, that I need to step up. And so that's when I took some of the gas masks and started talking to the Republicans and the Democrats about how to put them on. And then when people are in a very chaotic state, it's hard for them to focus. So I got on desks and started shouting orders about how to put on gas masks, keep people calm. And then eventually we got to the evacuation situation. Myself and two other congressmen went and checked everywhere to make sure that people weren't left behind. And then we left. And there's a lot of other stuff that happened. But the most important thing is I wanted to make sure we got back to the floor. Because I was determined to make sure that, democracy was not going to die that night, and they would get back on there, finish the electoral count. And it was hours later, but we did it, and I'm proud that we did it.
Wow, and I don't know, I put myself in that situation. I don't know if I can snap to it, and I mean, I probably knowing myself, I probably could, but not to the level that you
There's
just dropped and run.
there was a lot of there's a lot of good men and women, Democrats and Republicans, that you never would have imagined that stepped up that day, and it was a very sad moment for this country. It was also a very proud moment for the country. I think we should remember that the fact that there was a lot of people that really decided to put whatever they had on the line to save our country for one more day, one more election.
Right. Well, let's get to some of the current things, and a big topic, a couple of big topics up here. Wildfire mitigation has always been the thing,
Yeah.
and I'll tell everybody who wants to listen, that our two sitting senators right now did a lot to advance that, including Congressman O'Halloran as well. I want to mention that for him too, but they really set the table on what the completed mitigation is out there and for projects to come. So for you, when you come into this situation, what do you want to do to kind of pick up where Senator Sinema left off,
Yep.
and work with Senator Kelly and continue this?
Well, and we have to continue to do wildfire mitigation. We have to also pay our wildland firefighters more to make sure we keep them. We have a lot of guys I serve with, actually from the Marine Corps, are wildland firefighters. It's a tough job. It doesn't pay that well, but they get such great experience. And next thing you know, some of these big counties will come in and poach them, and now you have to retrain somebody, right? Mm-hmm. It's a dangerous job. We've lost so many firefighters here. Whether it's hot shots, and every year, whether it's the hot shots of back in 2014 or 2013, this is the same thing. We're going to keep losing firefighters because we're making it hotter. It is hotter and it's more dangerous. So number one, we need to pay them to do this job. Number two, we need to be doing real infrastructure projects. And when you think about infrastructure, it's not just the infrastructure that Maricopa County should get or Pima County should get. Our rural areas, especially our forest areas, need to also have real healthy forests, and that should be part of our what we think about infrastructures, right? So forest thinning is extremely important. Flood mitigation. I've been working with the city of Flagstaff for years to help with the Rio Flagstaff project to make sure that we could channel the water away from the city, especially when we have some big rains coming down. And then just a continual, real attention to making sure that we understand the danger of forest fires when it comes to our communities.
Let's talk housing a little bit. Again, a hot button issue across the state and across the nation, really. And up here, it's gotten bad, and we're trying some things here and there to try to make it work. I know Habitat for Humanity has done a great thing, and they've got 40 houses not coming online, but they're going to build them and then come online. So there's attempts being made, but obviously more needs to be done.
We really need to have a massive influx of support for affordable housing in rural Arizona. Everyone thinks about affordable housing and they just think about big cities. There are people here that are driving an hour and a half to and from work. That's a tax on their livelihood. They're losing time with their family. So we have what's called the low-income housing tax credit. It needs to be increased tremendously, so that way people will build more housing here for people so they could actually stay here and work here. I received a loan as a veteran called the VA home loan. We need to have something similar to that, probably not as generous as a VA home loan because it's zero down payment. Mm-hmm. But right now, if you want to buy a home using an FHA loan, it's like 3.5% down. 3.5% down doesn't sound too bad when houses used to be $200,000, right?
Right.
Well, your average house up here is probably closer to $600,000 to buy, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't have that type of down payment, so we need to give down payment assistance. We need to give lower percentage interest rates down payments for people that qualify and then know what they're doing, and then we just need to figure out how to just add more housing. Lastly, we need to have a very good rural transportation system, because there are people that are commuting from other towns to drive in here. And much like if you live in a big city, you should have a mass transportation option so you could get on a bus, take the 40, get to town, turn around and come back, and not being totally reliant on your own car, because as you know, that cost, that adds up, and it's not fair to the Arizona citizen when that happens.
Yeah, that's I know Mountain Line's a great service, but seeing that expanded would help out.
Absolutely.
Not only to Donny Park, but down to Kachina and out to Bell.
I know people that live in Winslow that come in and work.
Yeah, no,
it's crazy.
Me too. And it's funny because those are the people. It's 60 miles, but that's almost like going from Anthem down to Chandler.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's not a big deal to them, but it's kind of a big deal.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about it. When I have a 7-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter today. She's turning 1. So I told you I'm taking her to the Grand Canyon. but it's a big deal to that kid. Like, you're not going to be able to pick up that kid from school, right? You're going to have to end up putting an after school program, have someone else picking up. What about that after school recital that you want to go to? You got to leave your work in time to get that. If that's an hour drive, you're not going to get there in time to see your kid. So that is a big deal to that kid. It's a big deal to that family. And as I say, it's a time tax that you just don't get back, unfortunately.
Right. Well, let's talk border. That's maybe one of maybe the hottest button issue in the state right now. And I know you've been down there several times. Your recent ad that you put out has some border law enforcement crediting you
Sure,
for being
yeah,
down there.
yeah.
Yeah. So so talk a little bit more about that. I mean, what? Let's cut the chase. Let's take the politics out. What do you see when you go down there? What are the problems down there?
Well, the problems are that everyone tries a simple solution. We need to really tackle it all. We need more border patrol. You need more customs and police officers. You need more technology, right?
Mhm.
So border patrol stops the bad guys. The customs officers, so they could check the big trucks that they're coming through to make sure they're not bringing in the fentanyl. Most of the fentanyl actually comes over customs, and also makes it easier for border trade, right? Because we have billions of dollars that crosses that border every day, and U.S. citizens and Mexican nationals across every day to come work and go back and forth. If we don't have enough people to make that transition, to make that movement easier, it's easier for the criminals to cross. It's easier for the people that are trying to cross illegally to cross, right? So hire more people, put up border walls where it's needed. There's some areas where it is needed. There's some areas where it's not needed. You don't want to destroy beautiful areas. And you need to have more immigration judges. And those immigration judges need to be at the border, because you have a lot of people, and there's just no denying it. I've been down there 9 times in the last 9 months. And the people that are coming, crossing over, asking for asylum, are abusing the system. Most of them know when they actually meet the first asylum judge, they're going to get rejected and sent back to whatever country. But we are so backlogged that they're not going to get a hearing for 5 years. And so they know that, and they'll just get to work for 5 years. So if we have an asylum judges at the border, and that way they can make quick decisions, they'll stop coming because they know it's not worth it. Right now, we have a half measure that's happening with the president. It's better than nothing. We should have passed the bill led by Senator Sinema and others that would have put a lot more resources down there. But you just got to do it. This is systems being abused. It's broken, and fix it. And then lastly, once we kind of stabilize all that, we need to have comprehensive immigration reform. So people that want to come here legally have an easier pathway to do that. Get a background check, pay a fee, make sure that you stay in good standing. And then we have people like dreamers that have been here for most of their lives, that have no criminal records. They were brought as kids without their permission. We need to give them a pathway to becoming right, to be getting their green card, and eventually becoming citizens.
So with the judges you're talking about, putting one in Nogales, one in Douglas, Yuma, or across the line there.
I mean, not one. I'm talking like surge.
Okay.
Surge. I'm like, I would, we probably need across the whole border of the United States about 1,200. And so, but in the meantime, if you can't do that, we should be doing, you do telecourt, right? During COVID, we're doing court decisions by Zoom. This is the same thing we should be doing. Right now, we've turned it over to the Border Patrol just because we don't have enough judges. I think that's a good half step until we could get this full resources. But to really have this locked down to the point where we feel like that the border is less chaotic, we need to have the immigration judges on the border making decisions right away. And that way that we could just turn around these larger young men, there's just no denying it, and send them, repatriate them back to their country. And that way they could go back to the country and tell people, hey, it's not worth it anymore. They're cracking down. Don't try crossing anymore.
Well, I want to get to the other things that you may be focusing on or working on, and really talk to someone that's out there that is undecided in this race going forward. Why should they vote for you?
Look, I want to work to make sure everyone has a chance at the American dream. I'm a very lucky man. I was born to immigrant parents. My mom raised me and my 3 sisters alone. My father left the picture at a point. We grew up in a small apartment. My first bed after about 7-8 years was my college dorm room bed. I slept on the floor to make sure my family was more comfortable. I worked every stinking job you could ever think of, but it was good, dignified work that helped my family. And I think I was willing to do that because I believed truly in the American dream. And it's very scary when I'm talking to parents right now and they tell me I just am working just to survive it. I don't think I'm actually providing my kid with a future. And that's just not right. That's not what the United States has been about. and we need to change that. So, that's what I want to fight for. I want to fight for people like my mom who worked, was very proud that she was never on welfare, worked her butt off. But, a child tax credit would have been extremely helpful to her. I talked to a lot of women, and these aren't just poor women, working class women that don't know if they should work anymore because most of their paycheck is going to childcare, right? We need to fix the childcare situation, not just for women, but even for families of the men, because if you're spending so much time and money on childcare, that means you're not spending and investing in yourself and in your kids, right? Like giving people an opportunity to buy their first home, because you're not going to create wealth. You're not going to create stability unless you and your family have a house. These are the things that you need to have senators understand. And, a lot of our senators go there and they're already well-to-do. They're so far removed from the struggles of everyday Arizonans. For me, I've spent more time, working hourly wages than I did on salary. So, it's something good to remember. And I think, a lot of senators just don't think about it that way.
Well, I always like to leave everybody with a lighthearted question from anybody who comes in here. So I'm going to hit you with it. You were born and raised in South Side Chicago.
That's right.
You've been out here in a large number of your life. What is the difference in Congressman Gallego's opinion between Mexican food in Chicago and Mexican food in Arizona?
Ooh. So the difference is Mexican food in Chicago is good, but the Mexican food in Arizona is just more Sonoran based.
Okay.
So heavier emphasis on kind of like steaks and meat. And the salsa is much better here than the salsa in Chicago. The difference is Chicago does have better cheese, Mexican cheese, like Chihuahua cheese, Menonita, than here. But I would rate the Arizona Mexican food way better than Chicago, actually. And I have this argument also with all the Californians, way better than Californians. I don't even know why they even try it up front that they have good Mexican food. They don't. So if you ever need a recommendation, I have tons of them now that I've been traveling the state. So I'm hoping to pick up more.
There you go. There's your breakdown between the differences between Mexican food between Chicago and Arizona. Let's leave us with how people can reach out to you as far as website, social media, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So Gallego for Arizona, Gallego for Arizona.com. We are on Twitter at Ruben Gallego, on Facebook at Ruben Gallego. And just Google us, and we're around. We'll be here, and we'll be at the parade. I think you may not. This is after the parade. You'll see me, but we'll be up in northern Arizona a lot too.
Well, there you go, Congressman Ruben Gallego, taking a few minutes of your time today, and appreciate you stopping by. And we're obviously anxious to see how this all goes out. And with a win, we'll definitely be talking to you down the line, especially during the campaign too.
We'll be back. Thank you. Gracias.
All right, thank you, sir.
Bud.